Welcome back to another video, fellow directors and cinematographers. Today we're recreating scenes from one of my favorite films of this year, Obsession. I pulled a bunch of screenshots from the trailer, publicly available on YouTube. We're gonna do our best trying to recreate lighting as close as possible using set.a.light 3D. Let's take a look at the screenshot. This is where he calls customer service to cancel his wish. It's a very classic car night scene, done very tastefully, very nicely. It's got healthy contrast. Let's try to reverse engineer it, try to talk about what we're seeing here. The first thing that I noticed is the dirt in the glass. What that's telling me is that everything is being backlit to a certain extent. Let's start with the brightest light that I can see. The brightest light is this tube. I think that's what it is. Just outside the window. And that's going down here, hitting his shoulder, giving a backlight on his hand on the phone. There's obviously a light source coming from the windshield. Judging by the direction of the shadow on his nose, it's gotta be somewhere in front of him-ish. So let's say it's, I don't know, a Nova 300 or a sky panel just outside the frame. That's giving us this very subtle key light on his face. Obviously that's doing the windshield, that's doing this, that's doing this. The other thing I see is obviously this tungsten street light on his neck, the elbow and the dashboard. They're trying to emulate a tungsten or sodium vapor street light coming in from the back. We actually kind of see it in this back window here. So that's going in here and hitting his neck. This potentially is another light that might be on our side of the camera. That's about all I see here. So we're gonna jump into set.a.light 3D and try to figure it out. So knowing what we know, we're gonna start with the main key light. So let's drop a Nova 300. And that's obviously too bright, so we're gonna dim it down in just a second. I'm sticking up on it so it kind of cuts off and fades off on his eyes. So let's dim it down, something like 19. Yeah, I think that's a good starting point. So the next thing we want to do is we want to drop in that tube that goes above here outside of the window. Let's do a stare at Titan tube. We're trying to hit that phone and his shoulder and a bit of the steering wheel. Yeah, something like that. The next thing we're gonna do is add that tungsten light that was hitting him from the distance there. Let's drop in a 600D on the outside there. Obviously it's too bright right now. Let's set it to dark amber. And that's exactly how we wanted it. It's hitting the dashboard and a bit of the steering wheel. And let's bring it down, like 17%, maybe 20. Yeah, something like that. I don't know if they used fill light or that location naturally wasn't completely pitch black, but for the purposes of matching to the reference, we're gonna bring in, let's do Amaran 22, and it's gotta be super subtle, like, I don't know, like 2% or something. Yeah, see how now with this Amaran, it's not completely pitch black, but if we on and off it, see? It just brings it up a little bit and takes it off the floor. To go even further to add to the niceness, you could maybe bring in another Amaran or some kind of panel or a bigger diffusion. Give him a little bit more fill from the same side as the key light, just so that it wraps around his face a little bit more. Our key light is at 20 and this fill has to be lower than that, so maybe like 8. And that's pretty much it. Obviously the movie was color graded. It's got more of a teal and orange look. I don't know how to color grade in this app, but what I could do to match the look is we could set all of our lights to cyan, and that would bring us really close to the reference here. And our tube, and that's the look. Next, we're looking at the screenshot from the diner. Let's try to reverse engineer it. We need to figure out where our sun is. It looks like it's a high noon, the sun being somewhere in that corner, but none of it is hitting inside of the diner. And how I'm able to tell is that because this window is much brighter than anything else. Additionally, this little overhang here is getting some level. And I think what that is the sun hitting the pavement and bouncing back. Let's talk about our characters here. I don't think that the sky ambience alone would give us this much level and this direction. So I think what they did was there is a light source on the outside coming in through the window. What that could be is anything that's strong enough to compete with the ambience of the sky. It's hard to say what it was because this is such a small isolated part that they needed to light. You could get away with a lot smaller fixture, maybe even something like a 600D or a 1200D. If you talk about bigger movies, then obviously you can go much bigger, like an 18K. It does look really soft, and the reason that is because it's mixing together with the ambience that we're getting from the sky. The color temperature of this light must have been matched to the ambience of the sky, which is usually about 5600 during the day. In the back here, we're getting some tungsten ambience that's really subtle. Probably from these fixtures. It would make sense to actually swap them with aperture bulbs so that you can control them, the color temperature and brightness. She's getting some light on her shoulder, so it's got to be a fixture up there that we don't see off the screen. Obviously, we're getting some ambient return in the tiles from the sky. You may have noticed it's really contrasty here. We're getting a lot of negative fill. I don't know what the location looked like. Usually in these diners, the walls or the interior are some kind of bright colors, so we would get some return from the ambience back onto them. So the light is coming in from the outside and it's bouncing back on them. We don't know what the rest of the location looks like. So if the interior is bright colors, what we could do to create this is introduce a piece of negative fill stretching all the way from the camera to the edge of the frame, and that would block any kind of reflections coming in from the outside and bouncing in. But yeah, clean, beautiful work. I love breaking down stuff like this. Let's get to the most interesting part where I take it to 3D and try to recreate it. Just like I mentioned in the still breakdown, we have a sun coming in from the back there. It's hitting this asphalt and it's reflecting back into this little overhang. We're gonna start bringing lights one by one, but it's already looking good. I haven't even done anything. So let's bring in something like a Nova 600. I'm gonna place it outside here. So that's already doing a lot for us, like 50% maybe. And maybe we can actually point it in the middle of the table. So we're getting this other guy shoulder too. And honestly, that's pretty much it. But we don't know what the real location looked like. I don't know if it had reflective walls. Just for the demonstration purposes, we're gonna drop in a little neg, and that gives us a very contrasty look close to the reference. On second thought, the light source looks a little bit too small because it creates these shadows and it doesn't fill in his face like it does in the reference. So we're gonna bring in a little diffusion. That's gonna help us. Let's turn it around, punch up the output. So yeah, this looks like a 6x. It diffuses our 600 and makes it a much bigger light source. Now it's a little bit too much contrast on his face, so we're gonna remove this neg, bring in this one closer. I think this is as close as I can get, so let me know what you think. It's always tricky relying on the actual weather in the sun because it's unpredictable, but if you can catch it, you can add your own lights, complement the existing sun conditions. But in any case, fantastic work on the tailor's part and the team. Production design and the choice of colors that the actors are wearing is the cherry on top. It really complements the color scheme of the entire film. So let's take a look at this reverse shot. It would be reasonable to assume that this is a very similar, if not exactly the same lighting setup as it was this way. There's one tricky thing that I see that I will address in a bit. Let's start with the obvious. We have a very soft either panel or panel through diffusion coming in this way, doing this, and also doing this on the seat. We have a tungsten fixture imitating a street light. That's doing this on her face, on the shoulder. Obviously there's a practical in the back on the house. But the tricky thing about this, she is smushed in between two lights. If the environment was completely dark, this part of her face, right in the middle, would be completely underexposed. But it's not underexposed. The level on her face looks about the same as the house in the back, which tells me two things. There's either a huge fill light for the entire space, really far back, because she has no eye lights, so it's not close. Or the space naturally has a little bit of the sky ambience, maybe from the clouds. The stars are really bright, I don't know. The moon, I mean, I can only guess. I do want to note that there's 100% no fill light coming from the front because one, she doesn't have eye light, and two, the inside of this car door is completely dark. That means there's nothing coming in this way. Let's get to the fun part, jump into 3D and try to figure it out. So this is a little scene. I added a house and a car, loosely positioned the girl where she should be. I downloaded this house for free. Put a little light bulb in there. I set up the environment light, maybe like an ambient moonlight or something. So let's start with the key light here. We're gonna bring in a Nova 300, dim it down by a lot. I'm really trying to hit the seat, just like it was in the reference. A little bit hurt from the back. I want it to spread on this car door too. So as it turns out, she does have an extra light on her left. There's definitely more than I anticipated originally. We're gonna bring in Amaran 22. We're gonna put it somewhere here. So we're gonna dim it down. Let's bring in that tungsten. And that could be literally anything small. Let's go with a little Titan tube here in the back. Let's set it to dark amber. And it's gonna be dimmed down by a lot. Maybe a little closer and higher. Street lights come from above. We're almost there. What we're still missing is that fill light. I don't know for sure if this is the way they did it. Not everybody has a budget for a 20 by. That would definitely solve our problems. So we're gonna drop in a 600D maybe. So that kind of gets us there. I don't know if they used a 20 by. It's usually a lot of hassle and takes a lot of people to wrangle that. Let's try to come up with a more budget-friendly version of this. So we're gonna leave the 600D in there. We're gonna bring in something smaller, like a 6 by. But now we're getting spill here. This part should be dark. Let's try to move it around, bring it around, lower it like that. So that's pretty much it. The only thing, the color palette is all cyan. So let's switch our lights to cyan. We'll never know for sure exactly how they did it, but I think this gets us 98% there. This was one of the most interesting shots in the film. You might be wondering how they did this. Reflections in the eyes are always a cool trick. From what I can see, the lighting setup for this is very minimal, yet very effective. Again, props to the DP and the team, very tasteful work. So let's try to break it down. First of all, we have these practicals. I always recognize that shape. That's a B7C. That's what's doing this on her shoulder. There's a light source coming in this way. It kind of fades on her hair. There's a very, very subtle fill on her left side in the shoulder. And I think what that is literally this same light. And there's a wall. It's bouncing back that level on her face. And the most interesting part is these reflections in the eyes. And that's usually done by hanging spherical lights close to camera, set to something ridiculous like 0.5 or 1%, where it does nothing, but it's reflecting in the eye. So let's jump into 3D and try to figure it out. So I couldn't find a 3D model of the exact house like in the reference, but this gets us pretty close. This is our scene. I already put some practicals in there. So we're gonna start with the light on her hair and shoulder, something like an aperture 300. I think I need to use some kind of modifier. This is the closest thing I can get to a projector. I tried to fade it out on her hair. I know this house is not exactly the same. She's supposed to stand in this doorway. So what we can do is we can bring in a reflector to simulate that wall. And that's gonna bounce back some of that light coming from the projector. Now to the most delicious part of this. I've seen it being done with aperture MC lights with that spherical attachment. What we can do here, so we're gonna bring this ball lamp. We will put it right next to the camera. We'll dim it down to literally 1%. I feel like we're 90% there. She doesn't have that contrast ratio on her face. I was fiddling with this for a minute, and at least in this simulation, bringing neg really helped. But I don't know if they actually use neg, but it does seem to do the thing that we're trying to do. So actually, I decided to give up on the bounce idea. I think I was wrong. So what I did instead was I brought in this little aperture MC light, and I bounced it into a wall. That's giving her this very subtle return on the face. I think this is as close as I can get to the reference. I hope this was helpful. The trick with the spherical lights works every time. It's very cool. Very appropriate for the genre. So again, DP did a great job. The crew worked really hard. And honestly, it's one of my favorite films this year. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you enjoyed watching this video, consider subscribing or following. Let me know what you thought about this video. I'll see you in the next one.